Hi, my name is Ralph Bryant, and I'm here today to do what I'm hoping is a virtual media kit to support my project Shackles Lost. And I'm going to answer a bunch of questions that I would answer written down, but I figured why not take a shot to speak it directly to people that are interested in learning some more about the project and how we got here. The Shackles Lost project is a way for me to come to grips with 50 years of struggling with mental illness and childhood trauma. I turned 50 years old in 2020, the year that traumatized so many of us. And for me, it became an incredible opportunity for some soul searching and a lot of internal work, things long overdue. And so Shackles Lost is a response to that internal work. And it's a way to exercise some demons, but also provide some hope hope for the future and some optimism, which is not something that I'm particularly good at. But in this new life, new mindset, I'm really excited to be in that space. For me, what Shackles Lost represents is an opportunity for freedom and for an ability to live an authentic life. That is something that I think is super important, and we're all striving for that kind of connection. But it's hard to do that when your mind is clouded by mental illness, by trauma, by all of the things that stop us from leading the greatest potential in our lives. So at some point, though, you create the opportunity to break the chains and remove the shackles so that you can move forward. And this is so that's what the title represents to me. I had tried a lot of things to deal with this instability that I was feeling inside me. I tried therapy, I tried pharmaceuticals, I tried non-pharmaceuticals, drugs, I tried meditation, I tried spirituality, I tried lots of different things that didn't quite get me the result that I was looking for. And for me, the thing that has always been my refuge has been writing. And I thought that if I had any chance of getting really truly moving forward, writing was going to be the vehicle that got me there. So that was the inspiration. That's a great question. So it's called the Poetry Mixtape because the other thing that got me out of some pretty dark places has always been writing, always been music in addition to writing. And I wanted to connect music and writing together because for me they stay connected. And so each poem or prose in the book has a corresponding musical muse that either was a big part of what I was listening to when I wrote it, or it has a kind of a hidden meaning that isn't as clear when you connect it to the book, or is a song that just means a lot to me. And one of the things that you'll notice is that all of the songs, with the exception of one, are written by Black artists. And that was also important to me because I have worked really hard to listen to a diversity of Black music and have a diversity of Black experience. And I wanted to portray that in the book as well. I think the thing I love most about writing is that I am an extroverted introvert. I spend a lot of time trapped in my head, and it's very hard for me to get my feelings out. And the way that I can is through writing. It's always the way that I've been able to get my feelings out, both positive and negative. And so I love the freedom of being able to trap my feelings and emotions on a piece of paper and then be able to go back to it or share it with someone. I just love the way that it can convey emotion, any type of emotion. So you'll see at the beginning of the book that phrase, remember who you are. And for me, it's important that's an important phrase, because I've done a lot of great things, and I've done a lot of great things in spite of my mental illness. And when I was in the hospital, when I was hospitalized for being bipolar a few years ago, a friend of mine, the artist Angela Denise, who's does the headers in the book, sent me a note with this picture saying, remember who you are, and you know, and said a bunch of other things. But really what she was saying is that you're not your mental illness. You have done things in spite of your mental illness, and you will do more things in spite of your mental illness. So don't be locked in. And I think that's an important lesson for all of us, that we don't have to be slaves to anything. We don't have to be slaves to our desires. We don't have to be slaves to our addictions. We don't have to be slaves to our mental illness. And even if you do want to do that, you can do it consciously and not because you feel like you don't have a choice. And so that was a big driver for me throughout the whole project. So the first time I knew that I wanted to be a writer, I was 8 years old. I had gotten the chicken pox, and so I had to spend 2 weeks at home, kind of like being home during coronavirus. And my mom was a big believer in watching daytime soap operas. So because I was home, I watched a lot of daytime soap operas. And so the first story I ever wrote, which was I had to do a writing assignment because I couldn't go to school to make up for extra credit and lost credit. And so I wrote a soap opera spoof called All My Black Children, as a spoof off of the show All My Children. And my second grade teacher loved it and was like, oh my goodness, I think you could be a writer someday. And the school actually you did it as an assembly, and it was a big production. And so writing has always been a part of my life, certainly my professional life. I don't know why this wire has decided to come hang out. Writing has always been a part of my life, and both professionally and personally, I've done a lot of writing in my professional life, and in doing so, though, I was betraying my personal writing. And so this Shackles Lost is a way to respond to that and get back to my first love. My favorite writer is probably, my two favorite writers are James Baldwin and David Sedaris. I love them for different reasons. For James Baldwin, I feel like in some ways I am trying to walk his path, albeit much later in life. I'm a black man from Harlem, and I lived in the Bronx as well, and a poet, and I'm also bi, which, talking about for the first time through the creation of this project, is a big deal for me. So